I run a business that handles marketing, client systems, and automation, and about 80% of it right now runs on AI. That is real workflows, real clients, and real results. And here's the thing, you don't need a full tech team to be able to do the same. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact AI framework I use to run my business day to day. That magical system that keeps everything running automatically in the background. Because once you understand this structure, you'll be able to design your own AI stack even if you've never built an automation in your life. I'm going to walk you through how each one fits together, the mistakes that people make at each stage, and how to avoid them. And if you're new here, hey, it's Prioletti, founder of Serenium AI. I help entrepreneurs, creators, and agency owners use AI to save time, become more scalable, and simplify everything without needing to be technical. All right, let's dive in. So why is it that you actually need a stack? Most people jump into AI tools quite randomly. So they'll try one for writing, one for content creation, one for automation, and nothing seems to really stick. But I'd say that's because they're focused on the tools, but not the actual systems. You don't need 100 apps, you just need a few that you know quite well to be able to do 80% of the work. And each one needs a little bit of a job description. Imagine that if you don't understand why one is there, get rid of it. If it doesn't have a clear role in the workflow, it doesn't belong there. So here's the main mistake that I see constantly is that people collect tools like trophies. They have 7 AI subscriptions, but they can't tell you what each one actually does for the business, or how they're maximizing the value out of each tool. What they don't sometimes realize is these tools overlap, and you could end up spending more monthly than you probably need to. But the goal isn't to collect tools, it's to connect tools into a system that actually runs your business for you. So my entire workflow runs on these 4 pillars: think, refine, execute, and verify. And what is the beauty of this system? And each pillar has a specific job. No overlap, no confusion, just clarity. So here's exactly how each one works. This is where every idea starts, and this is the place where most people skip. Have you ever sat down to write content, stared at a blank page for 30 minutes, rage quit, picked up your phone, scrolled Twitter instead? That is exactly what this stage eliminates. So for this, I use ChatGPT 5, not as a writer, but more as a thinking partner. So when I'm planning new offers, writing scripts, building systems, or brainstorming content, I'll start here. Here's what it looks like in practice. This week, we've been building out new client onboarding flows, and instead of staring at that blank page for 30 minutes, I asked ChatGPT, give me 5 different ways to structure an onboarding process, focus on clarity, efficiency, and making clients feel taken care of from day one. My actual prompt. It gave me those 5 frameworks, and I was able to pick the best bits from each, put them together, and then combined, I have my rough structure in about 5 minutes. Or when I'm preparing for a client call, I'll paste in my notes and ask, summarize this into a few key points, making sure that if there are any action points, to give it clear owners and deadlines. This turns about 30 minutes of notes into a clear, concise action plan. And here is that common mistake. People use ChatGPT to write, not to think. They'll ask it to write their email, their proposal, a script, and then they'll wonder sometimes why it sounded a little bit generic. But when you use it to expand your thinking, generate frameworks, explore angles, structure ideas, then it becomes invaluable. So I'm going to use it to build offers and messaging, build out frameworks, content outlines, also to turn those messy meeting notes into structured decisions. It is the creative brain of the business, fast, flexible, and always ready. The key takeaway here is don't use AI to do your thinking, use it to expand your thinking. So once I've got my raw ideas from ChatGPT, I move to my second pillar, refine. This is where things go from rough to real. It's where you turn your ideas into structure and clarity. For that, I use Claude 4.5 by Anthropic. Claude here is like my editor-in-chief. He's slower, more thoughtful, but that's exactly what you need at this point. So I had some rough notes from a client document. This included bullet points, half-formed thoughts, messy structure, so I pasted it into Claude and said, turn this into a professional strategy document. Organize it logically, add section headers, and make the tone confident but approachable. ChatGPT gives you the speed and ideas, and Claude gives you the depth and the polish. This is where I turn notes into clear strategy documents, rewrite messy drafts into professional client assets, create SOPs, reports, or detailed proposals, or summarize long PDFs into one-page briefs. Claude has a massive context window. It can handle entire documents and reason through them logically. It's brilliant for tone, structure, and logic. And here's that big mistake that people make. They do it all in one tool. They use ChatGPT for ideation and refinement and then wonder why the output feels a little bit rushed or shallow. But when you separate these stages and generate with ChatGPT, refine with Claude, everything feels a lot more polished. A nice key takeaway here is that ChatGPT gives you ideas, but Claude creates clarity. Next up is execute. This is the layer that connects your ideas to action, where AI stops being chat and starts doing work. So this pillar runs on automation tools like Make, Zapier, and voice agents. You don't need to build a big system, just think in workflows. So here's a real workflow that I built last month. A lead fills out the type form. Make then reads their response. ChatGPT scores them based on fit, adds them to a CRM with a small summary. A discovery call is booked automatically, and then they receive a personal welcome email, and AI generates us a summary so we're ready to go into that discovery call. Total setup time was around about 2 hours, but total save time per lead is around about 15 minutes. Do that at scale and you can see the saving. And here's why this matters. According to Oracle, as cited by HubSpot, companies that use marketing automation to nurture prospects generally see a 451% increase in qualified leads. That is not a small improvement, that is a workflow transformation. And here's the common mistake here. People try to automate everything at once. Take it step by step. When it comes to automation, you want to start small. Now I want you to do this one thing. Pick one repetitive task that you do every single week. I want you to map out those steps, and then I want you to replace that with AI automation. Once it's working, just add another, then another, and then another. So before you know it, you're going to have an invisible system that runs behind the scenes without you having to touch a thing. And then you'll think, why didn't I do this sooner? The key takeaway here is, this is where AI really starts to make you money. Time is money, and this is what gets you back time. And that final pillar is verify. This is what I call your sanity check. It is the feedback loop that kind of keeps your work accurate and trustworthy. For this, I use Gemini 2.5 and Perplexity. These guys are my fact-checking experts that I would recommend to everybody. Before I publish, send, or post anything important, I'm going to make sure it goes through this verification. Here's what it looks like. I'm writing a letter about AI trends, and before I post anything, I want to put the key claims through Perplexity. Really nice and simple. Please check these claims and give me the source for each one. It catches outdated stats, flags questionable sources, and improves the data. Or if I'm building a pitch deck, I'll ask Gemini, what are the latest industry benchmarks for my client sector? Summarize the top 3 trends from the last 6 months. Or if I'm going into a client meeting where we're talking about new offers, what I'll ask Gemini is, what are the latest industry benchmarks in my client sector, and what are the top 3 trends in the last 90 days? Now that meeting's not just good, it's very current. So here is the main mistake that people make. They just trust what ChatGPT told them. But at this stage, AI hallucinates. It invents statistics, it confidently says things that completely aren't true, and that's why verification isn't optional. It's the difference between confident and credible. Before I publish, send, or post anything, I'll ask the following. Check this for factual errors and give me the source links. Find the latest data on this topic and summarize it. What are the competitors saying about this trend and what have they missed? A key takeaway from this section is every AI stack needs a feedback loop. So finally, the whole system and how it all connects. Think with ChatGPT. Generate ideas, frameworks, and build your first drafts. Refine with Claude. Create structure, polish, and clarity. Execute with your automations, connect, schedule, and deliver. Verify your facts with Gemini and Perplexity. Research, fact check, and validate. And that's it. 4 pillars, 4 roles, and that is one connected system that runs 80% of my business. And remember, you don't need all 4 right now. Just start with think and refine. Then move on to execute and verify as you grow. So that is the framework behind my AI stack. It's not about having every tool, it's about giving each AI its own job. If you want my completely free prompt template and stack map, comment the word stack below in the comments and I'll send them over. In the next episode, I'm going to be focusing on why 99% of people are using AI wrong. If you want to be part of that 1%, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's keep building smarter with AI. I'm Adam from Serenium AI. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you on the next one.